Namaskaram to all the Bhagavatas. Welcome to the fourth session on the introduction to Vishistadvaita. I'll just share the screen and then Guru Paramparaye Namaha. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranashchakshushrotramatho Balamindriyani Chasarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam Mestu Tadatmani Rateya Upanishatsu Dharmaha Te Mayi Santu Te Mayi Santu Om Shanti 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 Mate Ramanujaya Namaha. In the previous class, we had just 1 minute with me. In the previous session, we had gone through a brief introduction to the Nyaya Shastra, Purva-mimamsa Shastra, and Uttara-mimamsa Shastras, and also a quick look at the Brahma Sutras and the structure of the sutra, a definition of the sutra, and what is the meaning of Vedanta. Vedanta, Anta, the word Anta means Nirnaya, Nishchaya, that is the final conclusion of the Vedas. The ultimate message of the Vedas is in the Upanishads, very clearly and directly. So Upanishads are themselves called Vedantas. And the darshanas which establish the meaning of the Upanishads are also called Vedantas, like Advaita Vedanta, Vishistadvaita Vedanta, like that. So that meaning we saw Vedanta. What is darshana? Darshana means it can be perception, direct perception, or means of perception. Both can be the meaning. And we saw briefly about those meanings and Vedas and all that. Then we had a quick look at the 6 darshanas and then 3 additional darshanas called the Astika, Nastika darshanas. Those which believe in the validity of the Vedas as the ultimate pramana, they are known as the Astika darshanas. But some of them in the Astika darshanas, they all accept the validity of the Vedas, but some of them may give secondary importance, some of them will give primary importance. But they all accept validity of the Vedas some way or the other. Among them, the Uttara mimamsa darshana is the only darshana which accepts the validity of the Vedas as the most important, at most valid testimony. Vedas are the utmost valid testimony, primary valid testimony, primary pradhana pramana, Vedas, for the Uttara mimamsa, so Uttara mimamsa darshana. So these 6 darshanas, basically Sankhya, Yoga, Vaisheshika, and then Purva-mimamsa, Uttara-mimamsa, Nyaya. These are called Astika darshanas. Those which do not accept the validity, like the Bauddha darshana, Jaina darshana, and the Charvaka darshana, are called Nastika darshanas. Basically, we also have to keep in mind that all the purpose of all the darshanas is ultimately to remove, to get rid of all the grief for the Chetanas to get rid of this samsara. That is the ultimate goal of all the darshanas. The individual acharyas or people who propounded those darshanas, they established them based on their own experience and what they actually understood from the pramanas available. So the goal is the same. But since the Uttara mimamsa accepts Vedas as the ultimate valid testimony, Prasthana pramana, anything against the Vedas are not accepted in the Brahma Sutras, which are establishing the Uttara mimamsa or the Vedanta darshana. So that is something which we have to keep in mind. So the Bauddha, Jaina and Charvaka are called Nastika darshanas. Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Purva mimamsa and Uttara mimamsa called Astika darshanas. Though the mimamsa shastra is one, Purva and Uttara mimamsa together called one shastra. Purva mimamsa sutras are basically called Purva mimamsa shastra. They are written by Jaimini. Though Jaimini has accepted Brahman and the Devatas, everything according to Badarayana, the sutras, they are not very evident in the Purvamimamsa sutras because he gives primary importance to karmas. There is a purpose behind all this, to make sure people perform the karmas first. They see the benefit. Many of the karmas which we do here, we can see the benefit here itself, which will give them firm belief, faith in the validity of the Vedas, and then they move up to Uttara Mimamsa. Some of them may just stay in Karma Mimamsa itself, enjoying the Trivarga Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama. Those who have a desire to get liberation, they move up to Uttara Mimamsa. It is individual's choice. The Veda does not ordain that you have to study Uttara Mimamsa. You have to know Brahman. It doesn't ordain. It is one's wish, whether if one desires to get permanent, eternal relief from this samsara, they will get this mumukshutva. Then they will go and study the Brahma Sutras and understand the meanings of the Upanishads, which are established in a structured way in the Uttara Mimamsa Sutras. So, and then another thing is Nyaya and Vaisheshika. Nyaya Shastra was propounded by Gautama Rishi, Vaisheshika Shastra by Kanada. Both have been combined later into one Tarka Shastra. So the sutras, they have written separate sutras. Gautama Sutras are separate, Vaisheshika Sutras are separate, but there are many commonalities among them, and they are together combined, and now they are called Tarka Shastra. Purva Mimamsa Sutras explain the Karma Kanda or the Yajna Yaga and all those things, karmas which are there in the Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka part of the Vedas. Uttara Mimamsa Sutras explain the meanings of the Upanishads primarily. So that is how the 6 darshanas, and from all these sources of knowledge that we saw, Chaturdasha Vidyasthanas, Vedas 4, Angas 6 accessories, and then Nyaya Shastra, Mimamsa Shastra, Dharma Shastra, and Puranas. From all these, what is that we have to know from all these sources of knowledge? They are established in different ways. This is just a different view of looking at the realities or the teaching, ultimate teachings of the Vedas. Artha panchaka is one way where 5 things are clearly specified. 5 aspects: the prapya or the goal, praptru, the seeker, prapti upaya, the means to attaining the goal, phala, the benefit that we get on attaining the goal. Prapti virodhi, the obstacles to attainment. This is one way of studying, understanding the teachings of the Upanishads. The second way is just to know tattva, hita, purushartha. Some of the Upanishads teach like this. Tattva is the nature of the reality. Hita is the nature of the means. Purushartha is the nature of the goal. So in this, these five are included in this. In the reality, prapya, praptru, both are included. And in the means, the virodhi is also included. Goal is the phala. Prapya, goal, and the phala are included. So that way we can, the classification can be in three ways also like that. And different names are used in different Upanishads, etc. and our Acharya's works also. Another way of seeing is the Upetru is nothing but the Praptru, the seeker, Sadhaka. Upaya means sadhana, means. Upeya is the goal, sadhya. So sadhya, sadhaka, sadhana, Artha, hita, purushartha. All these things are different ways of looking at the teachings of the Upanishads, how we understand them. So in order to understand a system of philosophy, we should know these aspects, how they are established according to that system of philosophy. So these are the five aspects which we see. How is it established according to Nyaya Shastra or Sankhya Shastra or Purva Mimamsa? They are all different in each system. So as we can go and see in the one of the slides I'm going to show later. So when we divide it in this way, tattva, hita, and purushartha, the spiritual paths, who should choose and why, what should one gain from all these practices, these are all shown here, sadhaka, sadhya, and sadhana. And the obstacles on the way, how to get them, and the fruit of such sadhana or practices, they are all included in these three itself. So some places it is shown like this. For example, the Kathopanishad teaches like this. Badarayana in the Brahma Sutra establishes that the essential teaching of the Kathopanishad is only three aspects, because there are three questions asked in the form of boons by Nachiketas, who goes to Yama, and Yama gives him three boons. So for the three boons, he asks him three questions. He wants to know. And what are the three things? He says, Trayanam evacha evam upanyasaha prashnascha. This is a Brahma Sutra. Only three aspects are taught and three questions were asked. That is all Badarayana says. We don't know where it is asked, who asks this, which Upanishad, which part of the Veda, where it is, which Upanishad. He doesn't say anything. He simply tells the sutra like this, Trayanam evacha evam upanyasaha. Only three things are taught and three questions are asked. The commentaries on the Brahma Sutras explain to us, what does this mean? What is the subject matter of this sutra? Which part of the Upanishads? Which Upanishad? What is this referring to? All that are explained in the Brahma Sutra. So, Kathopanishad, the third boon that Nachiketas asked Yama, Yeyam prete vichikitsa manushye astityeke nayam astiti chaike yetad vidyam anushishtastvayaham varanamesha varastrutiyaha. I have just put the third one because that is the most important. This is establishing the, he wants to know, Nachiketas, the nature of liberation, nature of moksha. What is the nature when we get liberated? That is what is the question asked here. He says, prete means when somebody dies. Ya, ye, yam prete, yam prete. The man who dies. Vichikitsa manushye. People have these doubts. Vichikitsa means doubt. People raise this doubt. Asti iti eke, na ayam asti iti eke. Some say he is, some say he is not. That means some say he is divested of all qualities like knowledge, etc., and will become like a stone. Some say he will be one with the Supreme. Some say he will be blessed with the experience of the Supreme. These are the different ways people say they have doubt in this aspect. So Nachiketas asked Yama, I want to understand what is the correct nature, what is the exact nature of the liberation. I like to know this taught by you. This I choose as the third boon, he says. So this Astiti AK means some people like that, means it is referring to the various darshanas, basically. The Nyaya, Vaisheshikas and all say that he will be divested of all qualities like knowledge, etc. And he will be of the nature of an inert atom, atomic, like that. That is a stone. He is not the nature of consciousness, according to Nayayikas and Vaisheshikas. And some say he will be one with Supreme. That means he will not exist anymore. Only one Supreme Brahman will exist. This is the Advaita Darshana. And some say he will be blessed with the experience of the Supreme. This is what we say. So all these things are explained in the commentary by Bhagavad Ramanuja in Sri Bhashya. He explains the meaning of all these in detail. And Sri Rangaramanuja Muni and also explains it in detail in the commentary on Kathopanishad. So this is one way. This is the third boon, which is the Prapya Swarupa. So three things which he asked his questions. You see, what he means is Trayanam means Upaya, Upetru, and Upeya. These are the three things that are taught in the Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad, the entire essence of the Kathopanishad is it teaches us three things. The nature of the seeker, the nature of the means, the nature of the goal. Nature of the goal is explained here in this mantra. There is another mantra where that is very clear, all the three. Anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat, anyatra asmat krita kritat, anyatra bhutacha bhuvyacha, yattat pashyasi tadvada. This is a mantra from Kathopanishad. Tell me that which you verily see as other than dharma. Anyatra dharmat means dharma has many meanings. One of the meanings in this context is the means. Sadhana is also called a dharma. So other than adharma, dharma, other than dharma, other than adharma. This is a very, it is like a puzzle, very difficult to understand what it means here. Unless we look at the commentary, we cannot understand. Ramanuja has commented on this in detail. And all the acharyas have generally accepted one thing in this question is that the goal is the Paramatman. Paramatman, Upetru, Upaya means the goal, Upeya is the Paramatman only. I just put Upeya here, goal. It is nothing but Paramatman. Ramanujacharya says that there are three things are explained here, Upaya, Upeya and Upetru, which are extraordinary means. Dharmat anyatra means other than the means, what does it mean? Other than the normal upaya which everybody follows in this world, there are two kinds of means. One kind of means is to attain the Trivarga Purushartha, Dharma, Artha and Kama. These are all transient, not permanent. They end at some point of time. Whereas the fourth Purushartha, called Moksha, is the eternal one. So what Nachiketas is asking here is, most people follow the dharma, the means to attain the first three Purusharthas only. I want to know the means to attain the moksha. That is anyatra dharma means the normal dharma which everybody follows. I don't want that. I want an extraordinary dharma which helps me to attain moksha is the intent of this question that is asked by Nachiketas, that is explained in the commentary. So here different commentators give different meanings. But the nature of the Agni, that is accessory to the karma that is accessory to the Bhakti Yoga, is told here. Jiva Atman, who is the seeker, Paramatman, who is the goal. That is common. Here also the seeker is Jivatman only, Upetra, goal is Paramatman only, according to Ramanuja. Means is Bhakti Yoga, that is taught here. And Madhvacharya says, Pitru Saumanasya, favorable disposition of father, because father was very angry with Nachiketas. So he gives a direct meaning for that, whereas that is the indirect meaning of that is told, explained differently by Ramanuja. Swargyam Agnim, accessory to karma, that is common to both Shankaracharya and Madhvacharya interpretation, and then Paramatman, like that. In the Upaya or the means, it is included, this karma part of it. There is a Agni karma that it is called Nachiketa Agni. Yama is so happy with Nachiketas, the way he is bent upon knowing only the nature of moksha. He doesn't want anything else. Yama shows him gives him a lot of other options. I will give you a long life. I will give you to enjoy everything in this world. I will give you lot of enjoyment, lot of money, everything. I will give you pleasure and whatever you want. He says all those things are transitory. I don't want all that. You only keep all those things. I don't want that. I want to know about the nature of liberation. I want to know the means to liberation. That is what he asks. So those three things are summarized in one Brahma Sutra by Badarayana. Trayanam evacha evam upanyasaha prashnascha. The Brahma Sutras are so highly coded, it's very difficult to understand without the commentary. And the 6, I just gave an example for that 3 things that we have to know. And now coming to the Shat darshanas, 6 darshanas that we talked about, the Sankhya darshana is propounded by Kapila Maharshi. And they accept that Prakriti and Purusha, matter and individual self, are the only realities. Prakriti is divided into 24 parts, of course. Do not accept Supreme Brahman or the Ishvara. Ishvara means here Supreme Brahman, Parabrahman. Sankhya Darshana does not accept Parabrahman. They accept only Prakriti and Purusha as the 2 realities. And of course, the nature of the Purusha is devoid of all attributes and all those things. They accept multiple individual selves are there in this world. Each body has an individual self. And they are all devoid of attributes. Only the Prakriti's qualities are superimposed on the Jivatman. Jivatman's qualities are superimposed on Prakriti, like this and all they explain. And when the Purusha realizes that he is different from Prakriti, it is real moksha for him, liberation for him. That is what they say. And the individual self is all pervasive, and although those details, we are not going into much detail here now, but we just understand that this is Sankhya Darshana does not accept Brahman, but they accept validity of Vedas as a secondary means. Primary means for them is also Nyaya only, Anumana Pramana. Anumana Pramana only is the primary means for them. Secondary means is Veda. They also accept Veda. They say Vedas are establishing Sankhya Darshana only. So Badarayana examines this aspect of the Sankhya Darshana in many sutras and refutes Sankhya Darshana in many adhikaranas. After the first 4 adhikarana, the 5th adhikarana itself, refutation of Sankhyas. Since they do not accept Brahman, they say matter itself modifies into this world by itself, which is itself not accepted in Brahma Sutras. In Vedanta Darshana, it says matter, inert matter, which does not have knowledge, cannot modify by itself, cannot undergo change by itself. There has to be an intelligent self to bring about modification in the matter. So that is the view of the Vedanta Darshana. So they In Brahma Sutra, Sankhya Darshana is not accepted. This is refuted very clearly in many Adhikaranas. Then Yoga Darshana is also called Seshwara Sankhya. This was originally propounded by Hiranyagarbha, Chaturmukha Brahma, and then established through sutras by Patanjali. Patanjali sutras are famous, well known. And this is called Seshwara Sankhya because they accept all the elements of Sankhya's and they also accept Ishvara, Parabrahman. So that is why it is called Seshwara Sankhya. This is Nirishwara Sankhya. Only Sankhya means Nirishwara Sankhya. They won't accept Ishvara or Parabrahman. This is another one of the 6 darshanas. The Nyaya Darshana, logicians, was propounded by Gautama Maharshi, and a lot of this Nyaya Darshana we accept in Vedanta also, but their metaphysics part of it is not accepted. They accept matter, they accept self, multiplicity of self, they accept Ishvara, Parabrahman. They establish Ishvara through inference, Anumana Pramana only, through the cause-effect relationship. Nayayikas, the logicians say everything that we see, an effect, if there is an object, it has to be created by somebody. There has to be a creator. So this world is seen. We see so many objects in this world. If somebody has not created, how can this exist? If I have a mobile, somebody should have created it. Otherwise, it cannot exist by itself. We have this whole world, so somebody should have created. They infer existence of Ishvara like that. But that is refuted also in the Brahma Sutras because Ishvara or Parabrahman cannot be established by inference. Because according to the Vedas, the Brahman is different and distinct from all the Chetanas, individual selves. Such a Brahman cannot be inferred by giving examples of what we see in this world, which are all related to the individual selves. A potter makes a pot, but a potter is one who is bound self, who has karma vashya. He is in the samsara. So giving an example of potter makes a pot, we cannot say somebody Ishvara should have made this world. Ishvara has to be a karma vashya. He should have eternal knowledge. He should have sarvajñatva and all those things. So those things cannot be established. So Nyaya Darshanas, the metaphysics of Nyaya Darshana are refuted in the Brahma Sutra. Similarly, then the Vaisheshikas. Vaisheshika is Kanada. Vishesha, they accept a specific quality, a unique characteristic for each object. It's called Vishesha, which distinguishes that object from all other objects. So in the end, what happens is all the Visheshas, gunas are destroyed. And that is when liberation happens, they say. So similar to Nyaya Darshana only, later Nyaya and Vaisheshika are combined into Tarka Shastra. And then the Purva Mimamsa Shastra or Purva Mimamsa Darshana founded by Jaimini. So here we have how we have to understand the Purva Mimamsa Darshana is based on the commentaries of Jaimini Sutras. So this is commentary on the Karma Kanda. It is not a complete commentary. It explains many Vedic statements with respect to the yagas and homas and all those things, yajna yagas which are told in the samhitas and brahmanas of the Vedas. And then resolves all the doubts with respect to those rituals or the karmas that are told in the Vedas. Because there are so many doubts we arise when we look at Vedic sentences. Very, very difficult to understand. What is it telling us? Is it telling a name of a karma or is it telling the name of how is that is offered in the karma? Who is the devata for this karma? What are the accessories to this karma? All those things are spread across and they are not very easy to understand for us directly. So we get many doubts. All those doubts are cleared in 12 chapters by Jaimini through the sutras that he wrote. And many people wrote commentaries on that. So those commentaries actually establish what is that Jaimini has taught. What is it that Jaimini has taught in his sutras? The commentators explain. And what is interesting is all the commentators of Jaimini sutras, they have not accepted Brahman. They say Jaimini doesn't accept Brahman. So there are called Nirishwara mimamsakas. And Vedanta Deshika, who is one of the prime preceptors in our Vishistadvaita darshana, he wrote a commentary on the Jaimini Sutras called Seshwara Mimamsa. He says Jaimini has accepted Ishvara, Brahman. He shows how it is possible to explain the sutras of Jaimini without contradicting Brahma Sutras. So in line with the Brahma Sutras, he explains the Purva Mimamsa Sutras. That work is called Seshwara Mimamsa. Whereas the earlier commentators of Jaimini, like Shabaraswami, Prabhakara, Kumarilla Bhatta, and others, they all actually are called Purvamimamsakas, and they do not accept Ishvara or even Devatas, they don't accept. Mantra itself is Devata. They say Devatas cannot have a form according to them. Devatas cannot have a form. Why means 100 places people offer Havis to Agni, Agneya, Swaha, like this thousands of places people are doing in parallel. How can one Devata be there in all those places if he has a body? They say argue all this like that. But the Vedas say that Devatas are present, they are real, and they have the power to be present in multiple places and accept Havis and all those things. So, without contradicting the Brahma Sutras, Purva Mimamsa Sutras are established by Vedanta Deshika. So this is, but Purva Mimamsakas are those like Shabaraswami, Kumarilla Bhatta, Prabhakara, who have explained who have commented upon the sutras of Jaimini. So they are called Purva Mimamsa Shastra, whatever they established as the meaning of the sutras. And that is there. Vedanta Deshika, as I said, wrote Seshwara Mimamsa. He justifies that Jaimini has accepted Brahman because Badarayana mentions the name of Jaimini in many sutras and shows very clearly that Jaimini has accepted Brahman. So there are many, many sutras in which the name of Jaimini appears in the Brahma Sutras. And Jaimini is told to be the Shishya or student of Badarayana in Mahabharata. So, and the ultimate that we know, our focus is Uttara Mimamsa Shastra here in this course. And in the Uttara Mimamsa Shastras also, specifically Vishistadvaita darshana. So Uttara Mimamsa Sutras are by Badarayana. They are called Brahma Sutras, Vedanta Sutras, Vyasa Sutras, Shariraka Sutras. Many names are there. This is a kind of a commentary on the Upanishads, the form of sutras. And Badarayana also resolves the doubts, and he uses the Anumana structure propounded by the Nyaya Darshana in order to write the sutras. All the sutras are written in the structure of an Anumana only. Anumana is a structure where it has 5 parts to convey information to others in a very concise way, like we saw the definition of a sutra. Alpaksharam asandigdham saravate vishwatomukham astobham anavadyancha sutram sutra vido viduhu. That is the definition of a sutra. Accordingly, he established what is the prime, what is the first term, middle term, third term, like that. He establishes paksha, sadhya, hetu, drishtanta. What is that we are trying to prove? And for what reason? Where is the example for that? Is an example there for that? Like that and all, it will have all these aspects in this. I hope you are all able to see the slides. Somebody has commented that they are not able to see the slide. I don't know. In the YouTube, it is coming. 1 minute. Let me enable. Were you not able to see the slides, Apurva?
Mama, now it is showing.
Oh, all these while you are not able to see the slide at all, is it?
We were seeing the same the Sankhya yoga and that slide.
Sankhya Yoga. Okay, which was that slide?
Just the next was not coming.
Oh, okay. The previous slide it was stopped. Huh?
Yes, just the last slide.
Okay. I don't know. There is some problem with the sharing, probably. Okay, I'll reshare this, and then I will keep the unmute option open in case there is a need. Now I think it should be visible. Yeah. Okay. Now it's visible. So this slide, I guess you are able to see.
Yes, we were on this slide always.
Okay. I will just move to the next slide only. Pura mimamsa. Yeah, this slide, let me explain again a little bit if required. So this slide talks about Pura mimamsa founded by Jaimini, and it's like a commentary on the Karma Kanda of the Vedas, Samhitas and Brahmanas and all that. And this was furthered by detailed commentary on the sutras by Shabaraswami, Prabhakara, and Kumarilabhatta. Just like Ramanuja and Shankaracharya and Madhvacharya have written commentaries on the Brahma Sutras, Shabaraswami, Prabhakara, Kumarilabhatta, they have all written commentaries on the Jaimini Sutras. So they are called Purvamimamsakas. They, according to them, Jaimini does not accept Ishvara or Parabrahman or even Devatas. So mantra itself is Devata, like that they say. The importance is there only to karma. So importance is given to only karma. But these are all justified in our in Sri Bhashya by Bhagavad Ramanuja very clearly. And then so that we can see when we see the Brahma Sutras and other works of Vedanta Deshika like Adhikarana Saravali and all that, these are all firmly established that Jaimini has accepted Brahman. And Vedanta Deshika has written a commentary called Seshwara Mimamsa, where he justifies that Jaimini has accepted Brahman. And Uttara Mimamsa is the Brahma Sutras or Vedanta Sutras. They are explaining the meanings of the Upanishads without any contradiction. And very clearly, Badarayana shows that there is a system of philosophy, system of thought in the Upanishads by dividing the commentary into 4 chapters, the Brahma Sutras into 4 chapters. First 2 chapters establish the nature of the Brahman. The first chapter, in fact, established the nature of the Brahman. Second chapter examines all the other darshanas, which are not according to the Vedas, like Sankhya, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Yoga, Bauddha, Jaina. All these darshanas are examined. So when we say which are against the Vedas, they don't give primary importance to Vedas. Though Sankhya Darshana is also an Astika Darshana, they gave secondary place to the Vedas as a valid testimony. Primary importance they gave to Anumana Pramana only, inference. So they are called Nastika Darshana. So that is also refuted in the Brahma Sutras, because using Anumana Pramana or inference, you cannot establish that there is a creator to this world. So those things are all examined there in the second chapter. So the first two chapters together establish that Brahman is the supreme entity that is taught in the Upanishads. The third chapter established the means to attaining Brahman. The fourth chapter established the goal, the benefit on attaining Brahman. Phaladhyaya, it's called. So the third chapter is called Sadhanadhyaya. Fourth chapter is called Phaladhyaya, Sadhana, Phala. So he established it very clearly, Tattva, Hita, Purushartha. Two chapters establish Tattva, third chapter establishes Hita, fourth chapter establishes the Purushartha. Like that, there is a very structured teaching, structured way of showing that the Upanishads do teach a particular system of philosophy very clearly. But the thing is that sutras are also a continuous stream of words. It's very difficult to identify which sutra ends where, which are the set of sutras which form one adhikarana or one particular section dealing with a particular topic. It's called an adhikarana, and there are multiple sutras in that. So it is not so easy, though there is mostly a common understanding among the three Vedanta schools of thought, Dvaita, Advaita, Vishistadvaita. The meaning of the sutras, the breakup of the sutras, the breakup of the adhikaranas, there is a difference among the three masters. So that we can see when we study the sutras. That is just about the Uttara mimamsa. And the purpose of the mimamsa sutras is to resolve any doubts and apparent differences in the Veda Vakyas. So that we understand the teaching of the Upanishads without any contradiction. That is how they are structured. And now coming to the Prasthana traya, that is the three sources, basic sources of knowledge. They are called Prasthana traya. This is another way of looking at the sources of knowledge. One is the Shruti Prasthana, the Vedas, primarily the Upanishads. Vedas also included Upanishads primarily. Even the earlier part of the Veda is also included in that. Smriti Prasthana. In Smriti Prasthana, it is Mahabharata, Ramayana, and others. Primarily Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Purana, they are mentioned in many places. They are the ones which are considered as the Smriti told by Vadarayana. And then the sutras, which are nothing but the Brahma Sutras, known as these three are known as Prasthana Trayas. Prasthana means Prakrishta Sthana, that means a source of knowledge, which is an important source of knowledge for us to establish the system of Vedanta. Because the Brahma Sutras are commentaries on the Shruti. So the topic of discussion for the Brahma Sutra is nothing but Upanishads, primarily. And the Smriti, what they do is they explain in detail the meanings of the Vedas. They are called Upabrahmanas, the Smritis. So they explain the meanings of the Shrutis in detail. So the Vedas cannot be understood without the support of Smritis. That is the Vishnu Purana or Mahabharata, Ramayana. They all explain Vedic teachings in more detail. So we have to take the help of Smritis to understand Veda properly. And then the sutras resolve all apparent doubts, because Vedas have got all kinds of statements in the Upanishads which seem to be apparently contradicting each other. But There is no contradiction. Everything has to be accepted as valid, because otherwise the validity of Veda itself will be lost. If you leave out some part of the Veda as not valid, the entire validity can be questioned. So that is not what is the right way to do. Vedas have to be given complete importance, and they are self-valid. Swatah pramana, self-valid. You don't need other means like direct perception, pratyaksha, or inference, anumana, to prove what is taught in the Vedas, because Vedas are self-valid. What they teach is beyond the access of pratyaksha and anumana pramanas. Inference cannot teach us supersensory objects, and direct perception is through our sense organs, which have limited scope. They cannot teach us about supersensory organs, supersensory objects. So, Vedas are unique in that way. They are called Swatah Pramana, self-valid. Smriti, primarily we look at Bhagavad Gita and Vishnu Purana. They are and this is known as the Shruti, Smriti Prasthana. Sutra Prasthana is Brahma Sutra. Badarayana uses the word. How do you know it is Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Purana? That is known from the commentaries of the Acharyas. In the Brahma Sutras, where Badarayana uses the word Smriti, it is always taken as Bhagavad Gita or Vishnu Purana by the Acharyas. So that is how we are able to understand. Badarayana does not mention Bhagavad Gita or Vishnu Purana or any of those names in the Brahma Sutras. He mentions Smriti. Smriti, Smritehe, he tells, because it is told in the Smriti. Smritescha, there are many sutras like that. Shruti establishes this, Smriti also establishes the same thing. He simply says Smritescha, which Smriti, which work, where it is told. He doesn't tell all that. In Brahma Sutras are very, very concise, like formulas, aphorisms. And from these Brahma Sutras, three main systems of Vedanta have evolved. Dvaita Vedanta by Madhvacharya, Advaita Vedanta by Shankaracharya, Vishistadvaita Vedanta by Ramanujacharya. They all focus on the Prasthana traya, Shruti, Smriti and Sutra. These three. Yashruti Smriti Sutranam Antarjvaram Ashishamat. We say, when we talk about the Mangala Shloka of Sri Bhashya, we say that we offer our obeisance to Ramanuja, who Yaha Shruti Smriti Sutranam Antarjvaram Ashishamat. That means there were apparent contradictions were all resolved by Ramanuja. Tasmai Namo Muniva Ramanujaya. We say that. Who resolved the apparent doubts. According in all these three, there is no contradiction. He has established that way. And now I have a slide in which I have just summarized the Artha panchaka according to all the Shad darshanas, the 6 darshanas mainly. So, Sankhya darshana, Yoga darshana, Nyaya, Vaisheshika I have combined, Pura mimamsa and Uttara mimamsa. So, this gives us a very quick idea. It's not in detail. So, the details are, of course, we have to understand when we study those darshanas or when we study Brahma Sutras. We understand the details about all these, because in Brahma Sutras, Badarayana in detail explains these darshanas and why they are refuted. Also, he establishes in the Brahma Sutras. So the commentaries will tell us in detail the nature of all these Brahma Sutras in darshanas. I have just summarized in a very short form. This may not give a complete idea, but it will give a general idea. So in the Sankhya Darshana, what is the goal? Getting rid of Prakriti Sambandha, that is Viveka Jnana. Prakriti Sambandha has to be got rid of. Purusha and Prakriti are the Tattva. Purusha is suffering because he is thinking that he is connected with Prakriti. He has got some connection with Prakriti, and then the Prakriti is qualities he has superimposed on himself and he is suffering. In reality, he is nature of consciousness. He doesn't have any of the suffering. But because of the closeness of Prakriti, he is suffering. He is thinking that he has superimposed quality of Prakriti on himself. So getting rid of this Prakriti Sambandha or the association with Prakriti is the goal of the Sankhya Siddhanta. And Purusha is the Praptri aspirant. What is the nature of the Jivatma, the individual self or the aspirant? He is attributeless. He doesn't have any attributes. This is just like the Brahman of Advaita Darshana. But there are multiple individual selves. They accept the individual self as a real entity. There are multiple individual selves who are all real. Prakriti is also real. And the association has to be, he should get the Viveka Jnana, that I am different from Prakriti. I am consciousness. He should realize. But that is how they establish. There are many doubts, questions which come here, which are against the Veda. So that is how Badarayana tells all these and then refutes Sankhya Darshana. And what is the means of liberation? Means for liberation. Discriminatory knowledge. Viveka Jnana. Pradhana and Purusha are different. You have to know. That is only the means. If you know that Viveka Jnana comes, then Prakriti will be, he will be released from Prakriti. He will not suffer anymore. That's all is the nature. What is the benefit after realizing that he is different from Prakriti? He will be without any experience because he is attributeless. He will just be in his natural state of consciousness. No experience because he has no attribute. He cannot know himself. So, Purusha without any experience is the ultimate state of liberation. What is the obstacles to thinking that he has doership, he has enjoyership, he is a karta, he is a bhokta, thinking like that? He is not actually a karta or bhokta, but he is thinking that he is karta or bhokta. Kartritva, bhoktritva, or prakriti, they say. How can inert matter have all these? We question all these things. But Kapila Maharshi established it's like this. This is actually the Artha panchaka of the Sankhya Darshana. Very brief, I am telling. We go into detail, there will be a lot of other aspects that we will see in each one of them, and in Brahma Sutra they are explained in detail, of course. The Yoga Sutra, Prapya, what is the goal of Prapya? Is self-experience. The individual self is the goal of attaining the individual self, devoid of Prakriti, is the goal of Yoga Shastra. And the aspirant is Purusha, who is attributeless, again, just like Sankhyas. And the means is Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is the means. And the fruit is the bliss of self-experience. He will be in the state of bliss, they say. There are two views, of course, there also. One, some say that there is something bliss, and some say there is no bliss, like that also. So there are two views in that also. And the obstacles are klesha, karma, vipaka, ashaya, and all those things, they say. These are all the obstacles to attainment. Nyaya and Vaisheshika, complete destruction of sorrow. Atyantika dukkha nivrittihi is the goal of the Jivatma. He has to get rid of all the dukkha, that's all. He will not gain any sukha, but just getting rid of dukkha, that is important for them. And who is the aspirant? An individual self. The nature of the individual self is not consciousness, but he has a attribute of consciousness. He knows, but his nature is inert. So, when he gets rid of all the dukkha, there is no experience. He will be like an inert object. That's what they say. The knowledge of the reality of substances is the means. Padartha vijnana. Padartha jnanat nishreyasa praptihi. Gautama Maharshi says in the sutra. Padartha jnana only. Viveka jnana. What is nitya, what is anitya. If you understand. And then you will not do karma with the desire in the benefits. When you don't do karma with the desire in the benefits, you will not you will not accumulate punya papa, so there is no punarjanma. When there is no punarjanma, there is no dukkha. That is what is liberation. Like that they say. Cessation of all experience is the benefit. You will have no experience in the state of liberation. And what is the obstacle? Wrong knowledge. Aviveka, nitya, mithya jnana. It's called mithya jnana. Mithya jnana. That is thinking that these are all prakriti and all those things. The jivatma is actually suffering and all those things. So he has to do karma because of the association with prakriti. He is having this mithya jnana. He doesn't know that Prakriti is not nitya, anitya, and then he is nitya. When we get this knowledge, viveka jnana, then he will stop doing karmas with the desire for fruits, and then they will not have punarjanma. Then there will be no dukkha. That is what is the state of desire, the liberation. Like that they say. But if you see the benefit, the fruit of liberation is cessation of all experience. He will be like an inert object because his nature is not of consciousness. He is not a spiritual entity. He is a material entity, but with a knowledge, with a consciousness as his attribute. So he has knowledge, but his nature is not consciousness. That is how they establish the system. And Purva Mimamsa Darshana, getting rid of all upadhis, sharira, indriya, this world, all these things is the goal. There also, the individual self is accepted as real. There are multiple individual selves. Expiation of all karmas by experience and knowledge of Atman. Atman knowledge is important for them because if you do not know that there is an Atman who is eternal, different and distinct from the body, you will not do any yajna yaga and all that. Why we perform yajna yagas? To attain swarga and other fruits. If I have to experience swarga, I should be, that swarga phala comes in some other birth. For that I have to be real. When the body gets destroyed, when somebody dies, if Atman also gets destroyed, how will we experience swarga phala? In some other birth. So they say, Atma is nitya, he is real, and he is eternal. And so that knowledge is important for them. And then they have to, all the karmas, they have to experience the fruits of all karmas and not do any more karmas with the desire in fruits. Already, in so many previous births, we have done karmas. All those karmas are giving fruits to us now. In future, stop doing karmas with a desire in fruit. So, phalasha tyaga, phalatyaga. With that, if you perform karmas, you will not accept, you will not accumulate any more fruits from the karmas you do. But the previous karmas which are there, which we have actually done with a desire in fruits, those have to be experienced, the fruits of those karmas. And when the balance becomes zero sometime, that is liberation for them. So all the previous karmas have to be experienced, and then all the punya papa have to become zero. And from now on, don't accumulate any more punya papa. Perform karmas without desire in fruit. Then you are not going to accumulate, and you are going to spend what is already accumulated. So sometime everything is spent and the balance becomes zero, punya papa. That is liberation for you. That is how Purva Mimamsa is established. And what is the obstacle to that? Ego, idea of possession, etc., ahankara, mamakara. These are all the obstructions to that attainment. So the Uttara Mimamsas, getting rid of samsara through realization of Brahman. This is where we are different from all other darshanas. The Vedanta darshana is realization of Brahman is important. And the aspirant, what is the nature of the aspirant? Individual self, who is real. As per Dvaita and Vishistadvaita, individual self who is a reflection of Brahman as per Advaita. So the both are individual selves, but Atma is nothing but a reflection of Brahman in Advaita. In Dvaita and Vishistadvaita, Atma is different and distinct from Brahman. So that is a difference. And what is the means? Bhakti and Jnana. Vishistadvaita and Dvaita both accept Bhakti as the means. Advaita accepts Jnana as the means. So that is a difference. And the fruit is oneness with Brahman as per Advaita, oneness with Brahman and getting rid of avidya. This is Advaita actually. Oneness with Brahman is the Vishistadvaita. And experience of Brahman is according to Dvaita. There, of course, they say Bheda. So Jivatma is different from Paramatma. So it is not, they don't say oneness with Brahman, but experiencing that the Brahmananda has, and you still be different from Brahman only in Dvaita. So I have not put that. Maybe I can add that one more point there. Getting rid of avidya is the benefit in the Advaita darshana. So you cannot know Brahman, but you have to get rid of avidya. That is what is told in the Advaita darshana. And the obstacles are ahankara, mamakara, and all those things, idea of possession, karma, neshines, and all those things are obstructions. Prarabdha karmas, purva karmas are all obstructions. You have to get rid of all that. So this is briefly in one slide. I have just given very summarized way just to give you a quick look at the 6 darshanas, how they establish the Artha panchakas, the 5 aspects in their system of thought. And then we now go into the actual Vedanta part that we will we will look at it. The Vishistadvaita Vedanta, we will enter now from this point that we will see in the next class since we have already come to end of the session. So with that, I conclude today's session. And if you have any doubts or questions to ask, you can always ask now. You can unmute yourself and speak.
So, I mean, this Nyaya or yoga is the Kaivalyam equivalent, is it?
Nyaya and yoga are different because Nyaya, there is no experience. In yoga, there are 2 views there. Samprajnata Samadhi, Asamprajnata Samadhi. They are like that, all details are there. Some say that there is some experience of bliss, some say there is no experience. But they do accept the individual self they experience. They say in Nyaya Darshana, what happens is individual self is, in Yoga Darshana, individual self is consciousness, nature. Nyaya Darshana is inert, is not the nature of consciousness. So there is a major difference in the nature of the individual self in Yoga Darshana and Nyaya Darshana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then yes, maybe.
Where is the pramana that yoga darshanas come from Chaturmukhi Brahma?
Chaturmukha Brahman.
Yeah, where is the reference for that?
That is in the Brahma Sutra also, it is there. The Brahma Sutra also, in the commentaries you can know. And it is also told in some of the Puranas and all those things, in Mahabharata also, and all that. Hiranyagarbha is the prime author of the Yoga Darshana, is told.
Guruji, what exactly is the moksha? Liberation, okay. What a man who is just a living being, one day he dies. Biologically speaking, all the organs of his body have stopped working. So the body that was working, doing all physical, mental, and psychological activities come to an end. The body becomes a dead body, and then the air that was in his lungs go out and the man dies. This is biologically speaking. Then
Yeah.
moksha means how exactly to understand the concept of moksha.
So when the body functions, all the body functions, sense organs, the prana, and they all these things stop functioning and they are dead. There is a real entity inside the body, Jivatman, who is still existing, and he moves from one body to another body. He takes another birth based on his karma. And in moksha, what happens is he does not take any more body, no more birth for him. He goes to Paramapada and enjoys eternal bliss with Paramatman. That is moksha. But in samsara, what happens when when somebody dies and the body is burnt to ashes? Body is made of panchabhutas, five major elements, panchamahabhutas. They all go and merge in their causes, panchabhutas. And then there is a subtle part of the indriyas, subtle part of the prana, subtle part of the panchabhutas, which follow the jivatman from one body to another body. This is all established in Upanishads. In the Chandogya Upanishads, there is a chapter called Panchagni Vidya in the 5th chapter. There it is very clearly established, and the Brahma Sutras also establish this aspect very clearly, that Jivatman has rebirth. He takes birth after birth in samsara, and if he has to get rid of, whenever there is karma remaining, the remaining karma fruits have to be experienced. So according to the karma, he will take another birth. He will go out of the body, and the body will be dead, it will be inert, and it will be burnt. But Jivatman is eternal inside the body. He leaves the body and goes and enters into another womb, and he gets another body there, and he is born again according to his karmas. He may become an animal or a man or a deva or whatever it is, depending on the karma. And then like this it is going on for forever. We have been going through all this birth and death like this. When we do bhakti yoga or prapatti, all our karmas get expiated, completely destroyed, and then we will have no more birth. So we will be released from this bondage of karma, and then we go to Paramapada, enjoy the bliss of Paramatma. So that is, we are going to look at it in detail later in the Vishistadvaita system. A separate section will be there on the nature of the moksha.
So all have agreed, they have propounded that this Jivatma Paramatma concept, and then Jivatma leaving this body and going to another body until it reaches moksha is accepted by all the three acharyas, sir.
Yes. So all the three acharyas. In the Advaita, moksha is different. In the sense, Jivatman is nothing but a reflection of the Brahman in the Advaita system. Because Brahman is the only real entity in Advaita. There is nothing else which is real. The world is all an appearance on the Brahman. It is superimposed. It is just an appearance. Because of avidya, it is happening. When we get rid of the avidya, nothing will be there, just Brahman will exist. Jivatman is not real. He is a reflection of Brahman only in each body. So that is very detailed. Of course, Advaita Darshana, you have to study to understand the intricacies of the Advaita Darshana.
Continues me, Guruji.
Is there also a darshana called Dvaita Dvaita?
Yes, Dvaita Dvaita is also Veda it's called. It is also a variety of Advaita only.
And that is by Vishnu Swami?
No, it is by Bhaskara and Yadav Prakasha. Yeah. Later on, when we say Nimbarka Darshana and all those things came, they are all some variation of these three systems only. Dvaita, Advaita, Vishistadvaita only. Some parts are borrowed and then different systems are done. But the complete Brahma Sutras which were present at the time of Shankaracharya, only Veda Darshana was present. And of course, Vishistadvaita Darshana is not something new. created by Ramanuja. It is there in the Vedas itself. But he gave a proper form to the system of philosophy, Vishistadvaita, by commenting on the Brahma Sutras and all that, and the Shruti Vakyas and all those things. So, Vishistadvaita and Dvaita and Advaita. Veda is also a like an Advaita system only, establishing in a little bit different way. That's all. It is also Advaita only ultimately. And the later on systems, Bhakti Pantha and all those things are a combination of Dvaita and Vishistadvaita and all that. So nothing new has come apart from these three systems of thought.
Sir, in the Vishistadvaita propounded by Bhagavad Ramanuja, has he shown anything to condemn in ordinary man's language, or to show Virodhi Baba to the propounding of Shankaracharya and Madhvacharya? The other acharyas, whatever they have said, has it been condemned in his Brahma Sutras by Bhagavad Ramanuja?
Yes, at the time of Bhagavad Ramanuja, only the Brahma Sutra commentaries which are available were by Shankaracharya, Bhaskaracharya with his Veda and Yadav Prakasha. Only three were available, Brahma Sutra commentaries. Madhvacharya came 200 years later after Ramanujacharya. He wrote a complete commentary on Brahma Sutras much later. So Ramanuja doesn't comment on the Madhvacharya's Brahma Sutra Bhashya or anything. But there is one sutra where the Dvaita Darshana also is refuted. And Advaita Darshana, of course, is refuted in detail by Ramanujacharya in the Sri Bhashya, in great detail, in the very first sutra itself.
The news may good.
Yeah.
Is it correct to say that from Shankara to Madhva and Ramanuja, I understood Shankara was first, then came Madhvacharya's commentary, and then Ramanujacharya?
No, Shankaracharya is first, second is Ramanujacharya. 200 years after Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya's commentary came.
Ah, okay. So is it correct to say that there was a evolvement of the darshan?
Yeah, that is one way of looking at it, because we cannot really say why Shankaracharya established only attributeless Brahman. His main purpose was to refute the Bauddhas at that time, who were telling that everything is Shunya and all those things. There is no Brahman, there is no, even the Niradhisthana, Brahme, they used to say nothing is there, everything is Shunya, Kshanika and all that. And they did not believe in the Vedas. They refuted Vedas with a lot of logic. Through logic, resorting to logic only, they refute Vedas and all that. So in order to establish the pramana of the Vedas, establish that there is a locus which is real, Brahman, Shankaracharya's main purpose was that, to refute the Bauddhas and establish that the validity of the Vedas and that Brahman, there is an entity, Brahman. So that is probably why he first focused on that. Later on, when it evolved, Ramanuja brought in the concept of bhakti, which was, so Shankaracharya was focusing on jnana primarily, and his vadas were all very powerful against the Bauddhas. Not very easy to refute the Bauddhas. Their logic is very, very powerful. They establish in great detail, arguing in so many ways. But Shankaracharya did a great job by refuting the Bauddhas and establishing the Vedic system, pramana of the Vedas. Later on, Ramanuja brought in the aspect of bhakti, and then the Brahman as a entity with all auspicious qualities, no defects and all those things. Saguna Brahma. Saguna Brahma is accepted by Shankaracharya also at the lower level. At the higher level, it is Nirguna Brahma. Whereas Ramanuja said that Nirguna Brahma, Saguna Brahma, there is no true differentiation. Saguna Brahma is the ultimate Brahman. So he gave a different view and brought in the concept of bhakti as the most important aspect to attain Brahman, get rid of this samsara.
And what is the new thing what Madhava brought in? Or
Madhvacharya brought in a way where he he established the ultimate subservience of the Jivatma. So because Ramanuja's system, what it does is subservience is there, complete subservience is there, but Brahman has given us some freedom because Brahman is defectless. None of the systems want to attribute any defect to Brahman. That is one thing very clear. Brahman is without any defect according to all the darshanas who accept Brahman. Whereas Madhvacharya said, Jivatma and Brahmatma are very, very different. The Antaryamitva, where Brahman is present in all entities as the inner self, is not accepted by Madhvacharya. He says he cannot be there as an inner self like that. He has to be different and distinct from Jivatma. And there are many other such differences, but many common things are there, that Vishnu or Sriman Narayana is the ultimate Devata, who is Parabrahman. Bhakti Yoga is a means to attain him. These are all common to Vishistadvaita and Dvaita. So these are all some of the main things that are important to accept. So we are not so much against Dvaita in that way. Vishistadvaita doesn't condemn Dvaita in too much in that sense, because the ultimate goal, Sriman Narayana is the Parabrahma, is accepted by both the systems. Bhakti Yoga as a means is also accepted by both the systems. So like that, there are some important commonalities also like that.
So does this mean that the view of Madhvacharya was not at all present before Shankara came? Because the Vedas were there. So this
Vedas were there, but nobody has commented on the Brahma Sutras establishing a complete system of Dvaita at that time. Only when we saw the commentary on the Brahma Sutras, which established a Dvaita system, then only we understand the complete aspect of the darshana. Similarly, Vishistadvaita. All the three are there in the Veda only. Veda only is the source for all. But how do you know this system from the Vedas? Only we will know when the commentary on the Brahma Sutras are written. We understand that there is a system of philosophy in here. And that system philosophy, the thoughts were different. So based on the commentary of the Brahma Sutra available only, we can understand that this particular system existed.
So this means previously such systems did not...
Nobody had established in a way that Madhvacharya established the Dvaita system before Ramanujacharya's time, or at the time of Ramanujacharya. Yeah.
All these sutras, all the three acharyas, whatever they have said, Mr. Madhvacharya is the last one, and all these things are much more than 1000 years old. In the last 1000 years, in the context of scientific, technical, and philosophical advancement and philosophical knowledge, in the last 100 years, anyone has given better insight into it, sir?
Nobody has given, other than the three systems of philosophy, no new system has emerged. New systems who have come, they have all some combination of these three only. There is no independent new system which has emerged after the three Vedantas. So these three acharyas are ultimately, they are given a very great position they have in the system of Vedanta, because they established so thoroughly their systems. After that, no new system has come out. All the new systems which have come out are a combination of these only. And
So
all
in
of them
Dvaita,
accept the validity of Brahma Sutra completely. They all accept validity of Brahma Sutras completely.
Namaste. I had a doubt. So I read somewhere that the meaning for Astikam is that there are three conditions that need to be filled. One, that the Vedas need to be accepted. Two, that there is a Parabrahman. And three, that there is a world for Parabrahman. Now, if maybe my understanding of the...
Parabrahman is not necessarily an Astika darshana. Astika darshana, sometimes there are different views, but basically Astika darshana accepts the validity of the Vedas. They may not accept Brahman. Like Sankhyas accept the validity of Vedas, but they don't accept Brahman. But they are classified as Astika darshana. So that is one view.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, in Dvaita Darshana, then what happens to the Jivatma in Moksha Sthiti?
He will be in his own nature and he enjoys the bliss of Brahman.
Okay. So
Yeah,
this Stula
his
Sharira,
nature
Sukha
is
Sharira.
conscious. Yeah,
Okay.
he enjoys Brahman basically.
Okay. So no,
They
like,
say there are many aspects which are common to both. They give different names like that. So they say
okay.
there is Sakshi Indriya and things like that, which is our, we say, attributive now consciousness in it. So there are different things are there. There are quite some commonalities also among.
I have heard
Okay.
the name Vishnu Swami. To what darshan is he located?
Vishnu Swami, I don't know. I don't think he must be a much later commentator. Yeah. Vishnu Swami, there is no mention in any of the works, in our works at least, Vedanta Deshkar. Because Vedanta Deshka examines all the system of philosophy in this Tattva Mukta Kalam. There is no mention there.
The ISKCON follow Dvaita or Vishistadvaita?
ISKCON, they have their own system
Philosophy.
basically.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't give so much importance to Vedas also.
Okay.
Krishna is the Tattva for them, and they are very different. I mean,
Oh.
if you look at the Bhagavad Gita commentary of Prabhupada, you will understand how different it is.
I think ISKCON, that's Gaudiya Vaishnavism.
Gaudiya Vaishnavism. That is
Jiva
also
Goswami.
some kind of a Bhakti Pantha, but they are a combination of mix of all these. But they don't give importance to Vedas. They don't.
Oh.
So that is how it is not accepted by the Vedantis.
Yeah, and they we consider us as belonging to Madhva Sampradaya and the Jiva Goswami.
Bhakti Pantha, you can say, not exactly Madhva Sampradaya also, because Madhva Sampradaya establishes very, very firmly and detailed pramana of Vedas. Apaurushayatva, Vishnu Tattva Vinirnaya, Madhvacharya's work establishes the Apaurushayatva of Veda in great detail, wonderfully. So that way we cannot say Gaudiya system is Madhva Darshana, but there are Bhakti Pantha. Bhakti is given importance. So it's a Bhakti Pantha, it's a borrowed few things here and there, it's a mix of few things here and there, and some things are very different.
Jiva Goswami has written the the Sandarbhas on the basis of Srimad
Possible.
Bhagavatam,
Yeah.
Praman Shastra.
But there are differences. If you go into detail, you will understand.
And another question, Guruji, I don't know whether I'm out of context, just in case, hoping that I'm not too much out of context. 12th century saint, we can call him saint, Basavanna, did he totally speak against these Vedas, Vedangas, Brahma Sutras, and then the proponents of these three acharyas? Did he speak much against it, sir?
No, basically it's also a Bhakti Pantha only. Bhakti Bandari Basavanna, we say no. He's also taught Bhakti Pantha only. So he also gave importance to Bhakti. But he did not write a commentary on the Brahma Sutras, so it's not a proper system of philosophy like that. But he gives importance to Bhakti.
But did he refute the
There is no
knowledge?
refutation. There is no refutation as such. He has written the form of poems and his own understandings and experience and all that. But there is a great element of bhakti in his writings. Basavana.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of all, thank you.
Okay. I will close recording right now, and then.